Hello everybody and welcome back to False Nine Footy. So according to Fabrizio Romano, Juventus have just signed Francisco Conceição from FC Porto for around 30 million euros, and apparently this is going to be paid in like 4 installments. So over the next couple seasons or so, Juventus are going to pay out that full 30 million euros. And this again, anything Juventus, I'm very invested in because I am a lifelong Juventus fan. And, how do I feel about this? Honestly, I'm not ecstatic. If you watched Juventus last season, Conceição, so here are the stats. In 26 matches in Serie A, Conceição scored 3 goals, got 3 assists. In the Champions League, in 9 matches, 1 goal, 1 assist. In Coppa Italia, 2 matches, 1 goal. Not bad in the Coppa Italia. But Conceição, again, if you watch Juventus last season, he just didn't do enough. And it's also just his play style, the way he plays. I just don't see, I wasn't impressed with how he played. Not even looking at the stats. It's just the way he plays. It's very safe. It reminds me a lot of Jack. Like when you think of Jack Grealish at Man City, you just think a lot of going down the wing and then cutting back and then passing back, and then not really doing too much in terms of taking on defenders and like being super creative. Trying to create your own offense. Trying to beat a player or two and then shoot. It was very safe and just, yeah, again, not enough creativity. And honestly, I'm just not a fan of his game. I just don't think there's enough there. Like in terms of the level, that he can reach, I just don't see an elite player there. And obviously, you can say it's only 30 million euros, but a player like Johan Bakayoko, who I just made a video on, he went to RB Leipzig for around 22 million euros. And for me, he's like 2 or 3 times the player Conceição is. That's what my problem is. The price isn't horrible, but it's just he's not as good of, he is not in my top 10 right wingers in world football. He might not even be in my top 15, top 20. I just don't rate him that highly whatsoever. And this is a position, like the right wing, the right attacking midfield position, depending on the formation Igor Tudor employs. That right side, that right attacking mid, right wing position is a position that I feel like we needed to strengthen. Juventus needed to strengthen. There's Nicolas Gonzalez as well. So it's Conceição and Gonzalez that occupy that position. And Gonzalez for me is he's a great, he'd be a great substitute for that position. But even with Gonzalez though, I kind of see him more as a central player, as a second striker kind of player. Less so as a winger, but he could, for me, he'd be a good backup right winger or right attacking midfielder. But really, I think Juventus, again, as a Juventus fan, with the club, with wanting the best out of this club and wanting the best results, 110%, the best player for that right wing position would be Mason Greenwood. Had an incredible year at Marseille last season, 20 plus goals. The way he scored those goals, the way he played all of last season at Marseille, incredible. Fast, direct, creative. That would be the player I would want as a Juventus fan to occupy that right wing position. He's elite, and according to Transfer Market, he's only 40 million euros, which is only 10 more. So, and for an elite player, in my opinion. Or you could have gone Magnez Akliush, or again Bakayoko, which I rate a lot higher, which I rate more highly than Conceição. Again, as a Juventus fan, I want the best for this club. I would have told, the people making the decisions, okay, you go Greenwood, you go Bakayoko, or you go Akliouche. Again, I also could have said Kudus, but again, Kudus is at Tottenham. There were better options out there, and Conceição for me is very underwhelming. I just don't see a lot there. Again, I hope he proves me wrong, but I just don't see, you know, an elite player there. Because on the left, you have Kenan Yildiz, who is elite, who is like, he's amazing. If you watch Kenan Yildiz, he's the opposite. He's very creative. He's not afraid to take players on. You know, he's great at creating chances, not only for himself, but for other players. So, like, just Conceição for me, not a huge fan of this deal. 30 million euros. 30 million euros, again, you could say it's not that much, but when a player like Johan Bakayoko goes for 22 million euros, it's like, you know, you're a bit, again, you're not satisfied. Because, again, if you spent 40 million, you can get a Greenwood. Even an Adeyemi from Dortmund, I forgot to mention, you know, there were other options out there. Even a Ryan Cherky before Man City bought him. Now, obviously, they bought him already, but there were just there were so many other right wingers that I think they could have went after instead of just, again, he was on loan at Juventus last season. I hope I mentioned that in the beginning of this video. I can't remember. But yeah, he was on loan last season. And now they've made the deal permanent, 30 million euros in 4 installments. So as a Juventus fan, again, I wish we targeted other players, like we went after other players. But yeah, that's a position we needed to strengthen, like 100%. But yeah, at least we got Jonathan David, which is fine. But yeah, Conceição stays at Juventus for 30 million euros, and yeah, so I'll see you guys next time.